It is a real pleasure to be here with you, even virtually. Hopefully, anytime soon, this could happen personally. So without further ado, let me share my screen. And let me full screen my presentation. So let me change this. So my today presentation, and hopefully the discussion that will follow right after, aims to solve two problems. The first problem is, of course, environmental breakdown, ecological crisis, and the relevant social crisis that comes with this ecological and environmental breakdown. So there have been suggested several plans, several ideas to address these two problems. Roughly speaking, we could say that there are at least three different trajectories or plans to address the roots of these problems. The plan A refers to high technologies, the idea that every country in the world can become like Singapore or like Denmark or like Finland, full of high-tech technologies. And of course, the orientation is global, this cosmopolitan idea that we are citizens of the world and that there is only one way forward. There should be a monoculture of smart, green, whatever, greenish growth for all the citizens of the world. For reasons that I think that you are already aware of, and it is not the goal of my today presentation to discuss why this plan A is very seriously flawed. There is another plan B that actually suggests that we should simplify our lifestyle. We should aim at building low technologies, very simple technologies that can be that are cost affordable and then can be maintained very easily. We should change also, as I said, our lifestyle, and we should have a local orientation. This plan B, for instance, has been implemented, has been realized by several eco-villages and eco-communities throughout the world. However, my critique when it comes to the plan B is that many of these eco-communities, not all of them, but many of them, are not facing the beast, which is neoliberal capitalism in that way, but they're just escaping facing the beast. So we think, and by we I'm referring to the work that my team and I, the P2P Lab, and other people, of course, have been doing around Plan C, which actually tries to synthesize the best aspects of low tech and high tech, of Plan A and Plan B, if that can be said, and go beyond the local versus the global polarity. Again, how to synthesize the best aspect of doing things globally, and also the best aspects of doing things locally. So our proposal is about a mid-tech, as I said, something in between low-tech and high-tech, and the focus is cosmolocal. So we have this cosmopolitan idea that we actually belong to the same planet. We are citizens of the same planet, or villagers of the same planet. And it is for the benefit of humanity to develop a kind of common understanding and a common identity, but not a monocultural identity, something that, will be fully Western or whatever. We can share some things, as for instance, we are sharing the basic principle of the wheel. In every part of the world, you are going to see a wheel, but the way that this wheel is localized depends on the local biophysical conditions, but also on the local culture, etc., and the available means of production, materials, etc. So, and thus the title of my today presentation is that there is a real utopia happening. We're not going to talk about something that could happen, but something that is happening, of course, in a seed form right now. But if this model of cosmolocalism or cosmolocal production or whatever, use any other name, I'm not here to argue for this specific name, I'm just here to communicate to you some real life practices that we have been studying and we have been observing and we have been participating into these emerging practices that actually carry the seed or the vision of another world, of a world and of a mode of production that could arguably address ecological problem and the social consequences that come in hand with this environmental breakdown. So I shall begin with an example. I'm going to refer to several examples so that you can understand better the model and the practices that I'm trying to describe. I shall begin with an example from the prosthetics industry. So amputees are often disappointed at the high costs of buying and maintaining their prosthetic devices. This is a design of a prosthetic hand that has been created by a geographically distributed community of scientists, designers, and enthusiasts. So all knowledge, software, and design and designs related to the manufacturing of such a hand are shared around the globe as a digital commons. Take, for example, Wikipedia or free and open source software. In the same way, these designs and the software and every piece of knowledge that is related to the manufacturing, to the production of this prosthetic hand is shared around the globe. So anyone with an internet connection and with access to a low-cost 3D printer and other accessible materials can customize and build such a hand. Another example, small-scale farmers rarely find appropriate machinery to support their work. So a community in France, L'Atelier Paysan, has designed and manufactured its own agricultural machinery. The community shares its designs with the world as a global digital commons. Another community of small-scale farmers from the US, from the United States, have done the same. So these two communities have connected and created synergies by improving the same digital commons. The third community that actually has joined this network is the Tzoumakers community from the place where I'm talking right now to you, from Greece, northwestern Greece. So we have L'Atelier Paysan in France, Farm Hack in the States, Tzoumakers from Greece, from the mountainous part of Greece, in a complex of villages on the mountains, as I said. So you see a kind of makerspace, a small factory, if I'm allowed to say, in which people are building on the global digital commons produced by other communities, such as our friends, counterparts, and friends from Atelier Paysan or Farm Hack, or we are developing our own agricultural machinery with the local people, of course. Here, this is a community-driven makerspace. This is the old cultural center of one of the villages of Tzoumakers, and this has been provided to us by the municipality and with the participation of local people. I come from this place also, so I'm considered to be local. We have also other people in our group, researchers, I mean, who come from this place. We have turned it into a makerspace. So now you see how a manufacturing workshop starts. Local people are gathered. You see a lot of men, very few women, but this is also identical. This is actually very common to the region here. We can discuss gender issues later. People who are discussing the creation of a certain tool to address a local problem. So they are also searching on the web to see whether there is any solution that has been shared as a digital commons, and whether they can build upon it. Actually, one of the people there comes from L'Atelier Paysan. So we had identified a certain tool that we would like to build, and we invited one person from L'Atelier Paysan from France to facilitate our workshop, so that we learn better from them because they are more advanced, more mature than us. We as researchers also have paid several visits to L'Atelier Paysan in France to see how these community workshops, manufacturing workshops take place. So first, we identify the solution, we identify the problem, then we search for existing solutions, then we start manufacturing the solution, and we produce this solution. For instance, actually, this specific aromatic grinder has managed to receive the first award in the European Union design context, which actually manifests that we can produce in this community-driven and commons-based way functional tools at the fraction of a cost, tools that can be locally manufactured, locally maintained, and at a fraction of the cost, because there are no intellectual property patents and other regimes that actually would increase the cost of the manufacturing cost of a certain product. There are many other tools, both low-tech and high-tech, or as we say, mid-tech, because they actually synthesize high-techs with low-techs. For instance, this tool may be a low-tech. I don't know, yes, why not? But in order to produce this tool, we have used internet. We have used also some digital fabrication technologies. And therefore, we say that we believe that this model helps you to use high-techs when high-techs are more efficient or effective or environmentally friendly. It depends, like the internet, for instance, you can access information more easily than taking the airplane and traveling, etc. And this is, for instance, this is actually an emerging network of the open source agricultural movement, as we say, or cosmolocal initiatives that are focusing on agriculture and also on other things. So here you see other maker spaces, local maker spaces, in both rural areas with the dark green and urban areas with the light green. Okay, let's call it green. I'm not sure whether this color is green. Anyway, so you see how different spatial realities, people from the rural part of the world, Europe in that case, but also the US and Bhutan, and people from an urban setting, they are collaborating in a direct or indirect manner, and they develop a kind of global or cosmopolitan, I don't know, a kind of, shared identity, but with very local traits. Another example, such things we have also studied, such technologies that are designed globally and manufactured locally that come from renewables, small-scale wind turbines, for instance. And these pictures actually come from a workshop that was organized in Nepal, in Mitial. Mitial is a rural community in southwest Nepal, which needed to electrify their local health clinic. So they connected this Mitial, they connected with national and international cosmolocal or commons-based communities that are interested in small-scale off-the-grid wind turbines. Together, they built a low-cost wind turbine based on open-source designs and software, and using local manufacturing technologies. Of course, a training workshop took also place so that the local people could maintain the wind turbine after the experts would leave the place. So we have a coexistence of experts with people that are non-experts. You see some pictures from the workshop that took place there. Here, people are collaborating in order to build the bases. They are covered in cement. And this is the small-scale wind turbine. And this is the local health clinic, which now is electrified by this wind turbine. So this model actually develops cosmolocal production or cosmolocalism, or again, use any other name. It develops around the digital commons of design, knowledge, and software. From Wikipedia to free and open source software like Linux, to designs like the ones that I introduced you just a few minutes ago. And we have this global digital commons, and we have local maker spaces, which are equipped with manufactured technologies, both high-tech, like 3D printing, but also low-tech. And most often than not, I would say low-tech, or we have the more traditional technologies are used, like the cutters and even screwdrivers, etc., metalworking. Many of these maker spaces are community places, at least most of the places that we have been working with and studying. And you know, this circle actually represents that these maker spaces talk to each other. They are connected either in an indirect way or in a direct way. By indirect way, I mean that, you know, our local maker space here can just find some designs that have been created and shared by another makerspace, another design community in another part of the world, and without talking to this community, we are free, because these designs are under Creative Commons licenses or any other form of commons licenses. We are free to adapt and to use these designs. Of course, cosmolocalism spans a wide array of sectors. We have houses like the Wikihouse, we have open source satellites like the Libre.space's satellite, which is in orbit. Even in Estonia, you have the S-Cube, and 3D printers that are open source, that are designed globally and manufactured locally, and they can self-replicate. So you have the same model: designs, knowledge, freely available as a commons. Freely available does not mean that it is laissez-faire, laissez-passer. There are some rules, of course. There are different degrees of freedom, access to manufactured technologies that are based locally, and the tool, the artifact, is built. So why Plan C? Why this mid-tech approach, and why this cosmolocal approach can actually, or could actually, because still we're not sure, we are doing a lot of research to identify and to see whether the first two problems could be addressed or ameliorated by this model. First, we have noticed that this community designed for sustainability, meaning that products are designed to last as long as possible. Why? Because the profit maximization motive is absent. There is no motive for people in Mitial or people in Tzoumakers, in Tzoumaker, to produce an artifact that could be that would become obsolete after a certain period of time. This does not mean, of course, that people manage to design for sustainability, that they make it. They want to, but not necessarily that they are able to realize it. Second, we have on-demand production. At least the manufacturing part is localized, as I said. A major part of manufacturing is localized, hence materials tend to travel less. Third dynamic of this model is that people are sharing the productive resources. So instead of realizing the Silicon Valley American dream that every basement will become into a makerspace and everyone should have a 3D printer, here we have tools that are shared, and thus they are optimized. We don't need to produce a lot of machinery, but the usage of the machinery is optimized because it is shared. Fourth, we have inclusive governance, meaning that the systems of governance are bottom-up, they are developed locally, and they are participant-defined. Now, there is a lot of discussion about this and a lot of work that has to take place, but I mean, it is common sense, if I'm allowed to say, that if something is not dictated by the top down, and if it is emerging in a bottom-up fashion, maybe it is more democratic, or if you will, it is less undemocratic. It is more inclusive or less exclusive. The choice of your word is, of course, your own. Yeah. So this is very recent news. There is this building in Kopli area in Tallinn, which is actually we received the P2P lab, but also our colleagues that are Estonians, and they are based in Estonia. And this is one of the main reasons why I'm here with you, because we need your support, and you need your active support and your participation, and to create this community there. We have managed to secure funding for turning this community center in Kopli into a makerspace. And by makerspace, I'm not only referring to a place that will become full of high-tech, low-tech equipment in order to make things, but the most important thing is to create relations, human relations, and to create a community. And through this effort, we aspire to test and pilot this cosmolocal model and create another dot in this network. So we are going to have a new cosmolocal pilot there, which will focus on urban gardening. But of course, we had to tell the EU that we have to focus somewhere, but this does not mean that we are going to build things only about urban gardening. And as I said, our hope is that Tallinn can become another cog, not cog, in this emerging cosmolocal community, and see what can come up with out of this. But we as researchers, we have to study, and we have to show that this mode of production could address environmental crisis, ecological breakdown, and increase the pressure on the global north. And at the same time, does not improve the quality of living of the people that are members of this ecosystem. So thank you very much. Here you can find the link to the EU project. As you might have noticed, the EU is the main benefactor of us, but we have developed a kind of approach so that we can use the funding to empower social movements, local communities, after making sure that we as researchers are delivering what we have to deliver, and we are financially sustainable. So thank you very much.